Hi, I'm Destinee from FateofDestinee Media, and I have a review for you on this ColdSteel FGX Push Blade 2. I had this recent revelation that I've been carrying a piece of self-defense gear every day for over 2 years, but I have yet to share my experience with it. Fortunately, I've never had to defend myself with this, but because I choose to carry it, I do train and practice with it. So let's talk Last Line Defense, featuring ColdSteel's polymer push dagger. ColdSteel's Push Blade 2 isn't your average pocket knife for two reasons: its blade shape and material. Push daggers aren't a completely unique development. ColdSteel has several models of steel push daggers with different edges and shapes, such as this Safekeeper 3. But push blades made of fiberglass reinforced plastic are unique. Because of ColdSteel's choice of material for this knife, its uses are a little bit different than its metal counterparts. But we'll cover that use more in depth at a later point in the review. For now, let's hone in on Grivery, ColdSteel's unique brand of fiberglass reinforced plastic, and its pros and cons. If you've not before considered a plastic blade alternative, you may be wondering why ColdSteel would design a set of blades that you can't sharpen. Well, don't knock it till you try it. The Push Blade 2's Grivery blade receives both UV and heat treating, making it virtually impervious to weather or temperature change. That means they can be concealed in places that you wouldn't normally be able to keep steel, like in the shower or tucked in a corner of the backyard, or thrown on your keyring. I carry mine everywhere, right between my bottle opener and my house keys. The Push Blade 2 utilizes a T-shape with a cushioned grip molded straight onto the tang. The blade itself is a double-edged spear point. For a plastic knife, the edges are surprisingly sharp. It's handy for small tasks like opening mail, but the tip is where the real damage capacity lies. The Push Blade 2's needle-sharp point easily penetrates clothing and flesh. ColdSteel's Grivery is highly impact resistant, which allows the push blade to retain its strength during forceful strikes with just enough flex to resist snapping brittly. As convenient as FGX can be, the Push Blade 2 was not designed to be used in the same capacities as your average everyday carry folding knife. In an Amazon review of one of ColdSteel's nightshade weapons, one disgruntled buyer had the complaint that ColdSteel's plastic knives don't have the best edge retention when put to heavy use. After the edges dulled, the same buyer tried to sharpen his FGX knife as one would a steel blade, to no avail. Grivery may be strong and weatherproof, but it was not intended to replace the functions of steel. The Push Blade 2's grip is one of this style of knife's advantages. The T-shape fits comfortably into the user's palm, and the blade protrudes between the fingers. The grip itself is made of Crayex, a slightly tacky, weather and temperature-resistant polymer material. There are two particular advantages that the push dagger style of grip offers the wielder. For one, the effective technique is simple. The shape of the grip allows the user to hold the knife in their fist. That makes the knife easier to hang on to and operate with force, with less risk of the tool sliding from the operator's grip. It also has the bonus of augmenting any punching technique, with the added devastation of the 2 1/4-inch stabbing implement held securely between their fingers. Apart from technique, if while wielding the Push Blade 2 the user were to fall, because the grip is within the fist, there's less chance of the user injuring themselves or losing the blade to the attacker. Knife fighting is brutal. It's visceral, imprecise, and messy. One of the biggest risks when fighting with a close-range edged weapon, like an EDC knife, is the virtual guarantee that at some point, your hand will slide along the knife, injuring you or loosing itself from your grip completely, or both. Not to mention, if you or your attacker become injured, the blood could make holding onto the knife even more difficult. Whether you're holding it in traditional or reverse grip, there is still a risk too for an attacker to pry the knife from your hand at the weak point in your grip. This is where the T-shape of the push dagger shines. A fist is the hand position with the strongest grip. Keeping the blade between your fingers is your best bet to hang on to the knife during an aggressive hand-to-hand exchange, reducing the risk of cutting yourself on your own blade, and also reducing your attacker's ability to disarm you. I mentioned previously that the Push Blade 2 isn't your typical EDC pocket knife. The obvious element here is that the tool is completely plastic. However, it has some constraints that arise out of its size and blade handle configuration as well. Earlier, we touched on the perks of having a small polymer knife at your disposal. One of the key points was in its concealability. The Pushblade 2 comes fitted with a thick metal keyring, which is how I usually carry it. Its spear point blade shape makes the Pushblade 2 especially effective when used with stabbing gestures. It can also slice, but as we noted before, heavy use will dull the edges, which cannot be effectively resharpened as you would with dulled steel. The impact-resistant grivery is most effective when used on soft tissues, such as the eyes, neck, or abdomen. However, when striking a hard surface, such as bone or granite, the tip and edges will wear. Due to its small size and light weight, only 1.1 ounces, and its resistance to the elements, the Pushblade 2 and other polymer weapons like it are best suited as highly affordable last-ditch self-defense options. Let me reiterate, I do not recommend the ColdSteel Pushblade 2 as a primary self-defense tool. Personally, I opt for a concealed carry pistol as one of my key primary lines of self-defense. This type of self-defense weapon allows me to meet a lethal threat with lethal force from a distance. If I'm at the point where I have to combat an assailant hand-to-hand, it's only because I have no other options left. In that situation, access to a last-line defensive tool, like the Pushblade 2, could be the last chance I have to save my life. Here's the situation. You're home by yourself and you decide to take a shower. In the middle of washing up, a home invader busts into the bathroom while you're alone and vulnerable. The circumstance is immediately dire. Your attacker is less than a couple steps away with dangerous intentions. You grab the Pushblade 2 from its place in your shower caddy, grip it tight, and fight for your life. In times when you're forced to a last line of self-defense, the Pushblade 2 can be used effectively. As long as you don't try to force it to perform for other uses than for what it was designed, $7 will buy you a durable last-ditch self-defense tool you can count on when all other options run out.